Now at 9, a McDonald County, Missouri woman appears in court in connection with the death of a pregnant woman.
The Biden administration is facing heat for green-lighting drilling in Venezuela and vilifying American production here at home. I'm Madison Allworth in Artesia, New Mexico. Coming up, we'll get live reaction from an oil driller here in the state.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Albee. The McDonald County, Missouri woman accused in the death of a pregnant Arkansas woman appears in court today. The case is for the kidnapping and murder of Ashley Bush from Maysville, Arkansas, between October 31st and November 2nd. Authorities allege Amber Waterman used a false identity to lure Bush, then killed her to claim her unborn child. Waterman today pleaded not guilty to charges of murder and kidnapping. Amber Waterman's husband, Jamie Waterman, is charged with accessory after the fact of kidnapping resulting in death. He's sentenced to go to trial next month. Authorities say the Watermans attempted to burn and dispose of Ashley Bush's body in McDonald County, Missouri. The body of Bush's baby was found in a separate location in Missouri. Well, a former Joplin physician pleads guilty in federal court for health care fraud. According to the plea agreement, Heather Stelling continued to practice medicine despite believing that her medical license was suspended. Stelling knew that Medicare and Medicaid would not pay claims for services rendered to beneficiaries while her license was suspended. In order to receive payment, she billed Medicare and Medicaid by falsely claiming dates of service outside the period of her suspension. Under today's plea agreement, Stelling must pay more than $120,000 in restitution to Medicare and more than $18,000 in restitution to Missouri Health Net. Stelling is subject to up to 5 years in federal prison without parole. A sentencing hearing is going to be scheduled after the United States Probation Office completes its investigation. A local organization is making sure everyone here in the 4 states has food this winter. KOAM Segumba Wadeli has more.
Bronco Enterprise presented a check of $1,500 to the Newton County Food Basket Brigade. The check is intended to help the local community and help put food on the table for struggling families during the holiday season.
Well, this organization supports the local community, and Branco holds that in high regard, and we like to support that whenever we can. It's very important to us. So we were happy to present that today.
Pocket says they chose to donate to the Food Brigade because they help families in need.
We like to support organizations in the local community every year. If it's not schools, which is a big concern of ours, we'd like to support the children in the area. It'll be something during the holidays, which supports families that are in need, and there again, that translates into children.
An official from the Food Basket says the donation will go a long way.
Because we support, this year we'll be supporting 825 families. And we do food drives to collect food, but that probably makes up about 20%. The rest of the food we buy from our local grocery stores, so receiving these donations goes a long ways in buying that food for the families.
Moon says there will still be food after the brigade is over.
Food that comes in from some of the companies like Opal Foods, we take all that food when we get through and we take it down to the Neosho Help Center. So it helps families for the next couple of weeks, even after the Food Basket Brigade is over with.
Reporting in Neosho, Shango Bamdele, KOAM News.
Food Basket Brigade gives out Christmas dinners to nearly 2 weeks of food as well. A lot of 4-staters rely on food banks, and this time of year budgets can be especially stressed. So that's why Fox 14 is conducting its 19th annual Feed the 4 States drive. We're collecting non-perishable food items for area food pantries like Cross Lines and Wesley House during the season of high demand. You can also make a monetary donation online at koamnewsnow.com/feed. The food drive is going to continue until December 31st. Carl Junction Police Department is going to be able to buy some new equipment. The Arvis Foundation today donated $9,000 to the department for new trauma medical kits. Those kits can be attached to officers' vests in an active shooter incident to help out in their response.
Had this need for several years. Hopefully we don't need it per se, but for preparation, any emergency preparation or anything, it's a huge deal for us. Times are getting tough for funds for everybody.
The Arvis Foundation looks to create positive change in the community through these donations. A nationwide rail shutdown was averted after Congress intervened in a dispute between railroad companies and union workers this week. President Biden says a strike would have been an economic catastrophe. One part of the U.S. economy, however, is showing remarkable signs of resiliency. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera reporting.
With a stroke of a pen, President Biden avoids a railroad strike that threatened to throw the country's economy off track. The bill, which the president signed into law, gives workers a 24% pay increase and better health care benefits.
It was tough for me, but it was the right thing to do at the moment, to save jobs, to protect millions of working families from harm and disruption, and to keep supply chains stable around the holidays.
The legislation binds railroad companies and workers to an agreement the president helped broker in December. 4 of 12 major unions rejected the proposal because it didn't include enough paid sick leave. President Biden, who proudly calls himself pro-union, says the situation is less than ideal.
I've supported paid sick leave for a long time. I'm going to continue that fight till we succeed.
Besides skirting a railroad strike, the November jobs report shows employers are continuing to hire. 263,000 jobs were added last month, and the unemployment rate is staying steady at 3.7%, despite a wave of layoffs in major companies like Meta and Amazon.
So there are lots of opportunities out there, but it depends on the industry, certainly, and the sector.
Wages are also up by 5.1% compared to a year ago. But what may seem like a positive report may be viewed with pessimism by the Federal Reserve, which is struggling to bring down inflation.
Wednesday, the Fed, we thought we were kind of out of the woods. Maybe we're back in the woods again.
All eyes are on the Fed to see if it will slow its pace of interest rate hikes in its December meeting. In Washington, Mather Rivera, Fox News.
Biden administration claims there are 9,000 unused drilling permits on federal lands, but oil officials say that's just not true. Fox Business Network's Madison Allworth is at the Permian Basin in New Mexico with more.
In New Mexico, the majority of drilling is done on federal land. That's why oil producers here are frustrated to see countries like Venezuela get the green light, while American energy production is at best ignored and at worst targeted. When pressed on the issue of American production, the White House pointed to 9,000 unused permits, arguing that there are, quote, plenty of opportunities to drill in America. I want to bring in Claire Chase. Claire, the permit is the first step in the process. Why would a company like yours not end up acting on one of those permits?
So at MAC Energy, we plan our drilling program about 3 to 5 years in advance. So we get those permits in hand early, and then we'll go out and maybe drill the first well. If that well comes back uneconomical, then we won't continue the program in that area where we have those same permits. We also have the environmental assessments and the right-of-way permits, and sometimes the timeline just gets too far away from us.
And then let's talk about the financial investment. The permit process is $12,000. What about the current energy policy makes you nervous about further investing in federal drilling?
When the Biden administration says all the time there will be no more drilling, it makes it really difficult for families like ours to invest our hard-earned dollars, which is, when we drill a well, it's anywhere between $3 and maybe even $10 million in an industry that President Biden says consistently will not be here in the future. It makes us really nervous.
So, we talked about those permits. I also want to talk about the sale of leased land. That's how companies like yours even apply for the permits. Usually under other administrations, that happened every quarter. The message the White House seems to be sending now, though, is that there is not a future on federal land for drilling oil. Take a listen.
The federal government's only had one lease sale since the Biden administration takeover. We're supposed to have a lease sale every single quarter according to the rules of Congress, right? And we have not seen that. We've seen one.
Thank you so much, Claire. So MAC Energy drills 70% on federal land, but because of the current environment, they're actually looking to expand elsewhere. In Artesia, New Mexico, I'm Madison Allworth, Fox Business.
KOM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. David Unger served in the U.S. Army in 2005, also 2006. His hometown, Leavenworth, Kansas. We are proud to thank and salute Corporal David Unger. He's tonight's four-state hero. Coming up, the latest push to push TikTok up for good.
A popular social media app on almost all teenagers' phones could also be spreading Chinese government propaganda. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington. Why some lawmakers are raising the alarm on TikTok.
In between all the dancing and life hacks, congressional lawmakers say China could be using TikTok to influence elections and sway American politics. And now there are calls to regulate, even ban the app altogether. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard has a story from D.C.
TikTok, it's as addictive as it is dangerous, claim some U.S. politicians. It's digital fentanyl in the sense that it's highly addictive. Like fentanyl, the precursors date back to China, right?
A new report found the popular social media app is being used by a Chinese Communist Party state-run media outlet to post misleading and critical videos on American politicians without a foreign government label.
I've called out and I'm very concerned about what's happening with TikTok and its parent company ByteDance, the amount of propaganda and the amount of information it's sucking from young Americans.
The report found the videos primarily targeted Republicans.
They hit Rubio, they hit Ted Cruz, they hit Abbott, and the entity running these political ads is a registered foreign agent of the Chinese Communist Party.
In South Dakota, Governor Kristi Noem has banned TikTok from all state government-issued devices.
China hates us, and this application is extremely dangerous because it gathers information off your phone, what websites you go to, potentially what keys you're hitting.
In a statement, TikTok said they will improve the way videos are labeled. Quote, "We plan to introduce our state-controlled media policy and corresponding labels globally next year as a part of our continued focus on media literacy."
Congressman Waltz says in the new year he plans to introduce a bill to ban TikTok from congressional phones and hopes eventually there will be a ban nationwide. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast. A bit later, a look at the growing concerns over respiratory illnesses, bringing people to ERs.
Well, of course, it turned out to be a much warmer day for us today. High temps right around 60, but we had winds gusting to 50 through a good chunk of the day. Look at our high temps. Most of us 58, 59, 60 degrees, and we haven't dropped off much, but we have a cold front that is going to really start passing through here over the next couple hours. It'll sweep through the entire viewing area. So now we're holding into the 50s, but once it passes through, we're going to quickly drop through the 50s, 40s, 30s, eventually into the upper 20s by morning. Let's go outside. Here's 7th and Rangeline still sitting at 56. Southerly winds at about 20. Humidity is at 77%, but you can see that cold front entering into the region. So look at the cooler temperatures behind the front. You got 20s in Lincoln, 30s in Des Moines. It's sitting at 30 in Goodland, and that cooler air or colder air is going to be heading toward us as we go through the overnight hours. All right, super windy. We know that. We still have south winds 15 to 25, but even behind the front, they're going to be howling throughout the overnight hours and then slowly diminish tomorrow. As we go all the way into the morning hours, we'll drop back to about 28 degrees. So it is going to definitely be a cold night. All right, we do have some clouds which are skirting through. Now, with this front, once it gets down to the I-44 corridor a little bit later on tonight, we could see a couple little showers popping up as it sweeps on through. Most of us are going to stay dry. You can see there's not much moisture out there. In fact, this entire storm system doesn't have much moisture to work with. It just has a really strong cold front that is pushing through. So temperatures are going to be quite a bit cooler as we go into the morning hours. Clouds are going to be out of here. Look at our temps. Upper 20s. Here's 7 a.m. on Saturday. As we go through the morning, northerly winds, partly cloudy skies, upper 30s. And by the time we get to the noon hour. As we get into the afternoon, we just don't warm up much. We only warm to about 40, maybe 41 degrees. So it is going to be chilly. We stay in the 30s in our northern counties. Clouds increase tomorrow night, so we're going to stop at Sunday morning. We could see a couple random isolated showers in our southern counties on Sunday, but most of us are going to stay dry as we go through the entire weekend. Now, Sunday, overall, it's going to warm up a little bit more as we go back into the upper 40s for our overnight lows and then, or daytime highs, and then it looks like rain chances will increase a little bit more by the time we head into Monday. So here's your day planner: 28 to start, 36 by noon, 37 dropping back to by 5, high temp only at 41, so almost 20 degrees cooler than what we did see today. Now behind this cold front, the winds are still going to be howling through the overnight hours, gusts 30 to 40. But look how they diminish throughout the daytime hours tomorrow. So once we get to tomorrow evening, winds are going to be just kind of out of the northeast at about 5 miles per hour, which we can definitely handle. All right, rain chances sneak up a little bit by Monday, still staying mainly in our southern counties, late Monday into Tuesday as well. It doesn't look like widespread rain, but at least we have some chances for showers in the forecast, which we definitely need. 41 for us Saturday, 47 on Sunday. Let's go 56 on Monday, 51 on Tuesday, but we are going to have chances for showers, especially Monday and Tuesday, and then again by Thursday, temperatures mainly into the 50s and lower 60s.
All right, Doug, thanks so much. Teenagers who have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD, are one of the highest risk groups of drivers. But a small study in New England Journal of Medicine found there's a new program that's actually reducing crashes and near crashes among these drivers. Dina Demetrius explains.
A new program is helping teens with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder improve their focus when they get behind the wheel.
This is the first intervention that we're able to put out there that really does reduce driving risk.
Research shows teen drivers are 4 times more likely to be in a crash than adult drivers, and teens with ADHD are twice as likely to be in a crash compared to teens without the disorder. One major factor is that teen drivers with ADHD tend to take their eyes off the road for prolonged periods when distracted. This new program from Cincinnati Children's Hospital is teaching teens with ADHD to deal with distractions. It involves a driving simulator that buzzes when they look away from the road for 2 seconds or more.
This intervention significantly reduced those long eye glances from the roadway, both during simulated driving as well as during real-world driving.
Researchers put cameras in the cars of study participants for a full year to monitor their eye glance behavior. They found the group that underwent the training had 76% fewer long eye glances than the control group and a 40% reduction in crashes and near crashes.
I want this intervention to spread and really be for teens to be able to have access to this, with the goal being that it'll save lives.
CDC numbers show there are more than 3 million American teens with ADHD.
This was a small study. A total of 152 teens took part in total. 76 received the training and 76 did not. Coming up, more triple-demic concerns.
As we enter the winter season, we're seeing a wave of RSV, flu, and COVID cases across the country. I'm Alexis McAdams. I'll have details coming up next.
Insane video coming out of a brazen theft at an Apple store in Palo Alto, California. A video showing 2 people going around the store taking devices off the display ports, just snapping them off. All this happening during a busy Black Friday sale day as dozens of people helplessly just watched in shock. According to police, the duo took multiple devices, including iPhones, laptops, all adding up to $35,000 worth of merchandise. The 2 people are still at large, and the investigation is still ongoing. Hospitals trying to recover from the COVID pandemic now facing a new obstacle. The so-called triple-demic has led to a growing number of patients in ERs. Fox News correspondent Alexis McAdams has more.
The triple-demic doctors warned about now fueling a pediatric bed shortage. Many hospitals say they don't have enough resources to handle the number of RSV, flu, and COVID cases. Over the last month, healthcare facilities in California, Oregon, and Massachusetts have built tents outside of emergency rooms and delayed elective surgeries due to this surge.
These infections, flu, RSV, and COVID, can be quite severe, children requiring hospitalization and sometimes even ventilatory support in our pediatric intensive care units.
Doctors say this crisis is partly the result of masking and social distancing during the pandemic. And while RSV cases are beginning to decline across the country, experts say holiday gatherings could lead to another spike.
We're also seeing people that are coming into this part of the country, from other parts of the country now too. It's the time of the year where we see migration.
As the virus spreads, we're hearing devastating stories from the crisis. One mom tells me her 6-week-old son, William, quickly became sick with RSV last month. The family took him to the local hospital, where they say they waited 6 hours. After testing for the virus, William then airlifted to another hospital. He died from RSV complications just days later. Now his mom urging parents to take precautions this holiday season.
I really want them to have other Christmases. There will be other Christmases, but just keep your kids safe.
Doctors say they expect this triple-demic to peak in January. Reporting in New York, I'm Alexis McAdams, Fox News.
Goodness. All right, when it comes to holiday drinks and cookies, Hellman says, don't forget about us, okay? Our mayo. Gonna explain next. So can mayo be used in eggnog? Hellman's thinks so. The mayonnaise company is partnering with mixologist Cody Goldstein to create the frozen mayo nog, along with the Snickerdoodle mayo cookie. A cocktail and dessert is inspired by that traditional milk and cookies holiday tradition, of course. You find a recipe for the Hellman's eggnog on the Mixologist Instagram page. It's called Muddling Memories. I'll say it again because we had a story about eggnog yesterday. And I said, I love eggnog, spiked or unspiked. And I'll say it again. I love eggnog. Good stuff. Makes me want eggnog. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. Going to hear from a local therapist about tips to prevent feelings of loneliness during the holidays.
More air defense could be on the way to Ukraine as Washington and Moscow float the idea of possible talks. I'm Jeff Paul in Kyiv. I've got the details coming up.
Okay, so as the holidays approach, people get together with their families. It's going to remember what I just said isn't always the case. You know, as holidays approach, people get together. Sometimes you don't have any friends, you don't have any family. KOM's Yana Atala explains.
Family is a big thing for people in the Midwest, especially during Christmas time. And while this is also true worldwide, distance keeps some in the Midwest from traveling home. For them, video calls are important.
So because of time difference, it's really weird because when they celebrate Christmas, I'm still in Christmas Eve, but I call home, video call. They show us like decorations that they've put up or like things that they're doing for Christmas.
Holidays are an important time to be empathetic.
A lot of times people who've been here a long time tend to think that everybody has aunts and uncles and cousins just right here local, and it's hard to remember that not everybody does.
Beverly Harris, a therapist at the College Skyline in Joplin, says Christmas season is one of the hardest times for international students because joy of the season comes back to the family. Being far away from home can be sad, especially when others are with their families.
You feel homesick and sad because everyone else has their families around for Christmas and then you don't have your family around for Christmas. It's my letter on it.
Harris says it's important to feel connected with those around you, whether they are friends from school, work, or worship. Missouri Southern provides their international students friendship families to spend time with.
Family is something you choose. It's not about genetics. And so developing a support system and people who care about you. And there's a lot of different ways to do that.
Ropa is grateful for the students she has connected with at Southern.
They made me feel part of their family. You'd have people sending you Christmas videos like Merry Christmas. And you never expect that, they know me, like that. And they were just sweet.
Bringing more of the Christmas spirit to the Midwest. In Joplin, Yana Haudala, KOAM News.
While some international students spend time in town, others decide to travel across the states. The nation's largest online retailer says this year's Thanksgiving weekend was its biggest ever. Amazon reporting a record-breaking holiday shopping weekend with its customers buying hundreds of millions of products between Thanksgiving and Cyber Monday. Its top-selling items included tech, card games, also entertainment devices. We're learning more about a possible diplomatic breakthrough in Ukraine with both the U.S. and Russia signaling a willingness to talk. Fox News correspondent Jeff Paul has more from Kyiv, Ukraine.
The idea that Putin is ever going to defeat Ukraine is beyond comprehension.
President Biden vowing to stand behind Ukraine amid fierce fighting along the front lines. The president strongly criticizing his Russian counterpart for continued strikes on civilian infrastructure. But he's also floating the possibility of talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin if the Russians stop the airstrikes and pull their troops out of Ukraine.
We'll continue to strong support to the people of Ukraine as they defend their homes and their families and their sovereignty.
The Kremlin responding on Friday with a counteroffer, saying Putin is willing to meet with President Biden, but has no intention of ending what it calls the special military operation in Ukraine. The diplomatic back and forth comes as Ukrainians continue fighting in the east and hints at a possible new counteroffensive in the coming days, leading some to suggest the Russians could be running out of options.
The Russians are not going to be able to get on the offense in any consequential way. And I think if there is no movement, that is the only thing that would bring us to negotiations.
Meanwhile, the U.S. is focusing its military aid on air defense to help stop those Russian airstrikes, enabling Ukraine to expand the effort to liberate its territory.
There is some long period ahead of us in 2023 where I think the Ukrainians need to make significant progress for them to feel like they've won the war.
Earlier the week, the Pentagon announced a $1.2 billion contract with Raytheon to build the air defense systems for Ukraine. In Kyiv, Jeff Paul, Fox News.
But later, this has been said before, I know, but trust us, this light display outside Chicago is one you have to see to believe.
Well, of course, it turned out to be a much warmer day for us today. High temps right around 60, but we had winds gusting to 50 through a good chunk of the day. Look at our high temps. Most of us 58, 59, 60 degrees, and we haven't dropped off much, but we have a cold front that is going to really start passing through here over the next couple hours. It'll sweep through the entire viewing area. So now we're holding into the 50s, but once it passes through, we're going to quickly drop through the 50s, 40s, 30s, eventually into the upper 20s by morning. Let's go outside. Here's 7th and Rangeline still sitting at 56. Southerly winds at about 20. Humidity is at 77%, but you can see that cold front entering into the region. So look at the cooler temperatures behind the front. You got 20s in Lincoln, 30s in Des Moines. It's sitting at 30 in Goodland, and that cooler air or colder air is going to be heading toward us as we go through the overnight hours. All right, super windy. We know that. We still have south winds 15 to 25, but even behind the front, they're going to be howling throughout the overnight hours and then slowly diminish tomorrow. As we go all the way into the morning hours, we'll drop back to about 28 degrees. So it is going to definitely be a cold night. All right, we do have some clouds which are skirting through. Now, with this front, once it gets down to the I-44 corridor a little bit later on tonight, we could see a couple little showers popping up as it sweeps on through. Most of us are going to stay dry. You can see there's not much moisture out there. In fact, this entire storm system doesn't have much moisture to work with. It just has a really strong cold front that is pushing through. So temperatures are going to be quite a bit cooler as we go into the morning hours. Clouds are going to be out of here. Look at our temps. Upper 20s. Here's 7 a.m. on Saturday. As we go through the morning, northerly winds, partly cloudy skies, upper 30s. And by the time we get to the noon hour. As we get into the afternoon, we just don't warm up much. We only warm to about 40, maybe 41 degrees. So it is going to be chilly. We stay in the 30s in our northern counties. Clouds increase tomorrow night, so we're going to stop at Sunday morning. We could see a couple random isolated showers in our southern counties on Sunday, but most of us are going to stay dry as we go through the entire weekend. Now, Sunday, overall, it's going to warm up a little bit more as we go back into the upper 40s for our overnight lows and then, or daytime highs, and then it looks like rain chances will increase a little bit more by the time we head into Monday. So here's your day planner: 28 to start, 36 by noon, 37 dropping back to by 5, high temp only at 41, so almost 20 degrees cooler than what we did see today. Now behind this cold front, the winds are still going to be howling through the overnight hours, gusts 30 to 40. But look how they diminish throughout the daytime hours tomorrow. So once we get to tomorrow evening, winds are going to be just kind of out of the northeast at about 5 miles per hour, which we can definitely handle. All right, rain chances sneak up a little bit by Monday, still staying mainly in our southern counties, late Monday into Tuesday as well. It doesn't look like widespread rain, but at least we have some chances for showers in the forecast, which we definitely need. 41 for us Saturday, 47 on Sunday. Let's go 56 on Monday, 51 on Tuesday, but we are going to have chances for showers, especially Monday and Tuesday, and then again by Thursday, temperatures mainly into the 50s and lower 60s.
All right, Doug, thanks again. Coming up in sports, the Lamar Tigers hitting the field for the Class II Football State Championship in Columbia. Plus, the Missouri Southern women stay undefeated with a big W over Northwest Missouri Thursday night. Jacob Leonard has details and post-game reaction next.
Today is the day for the Lamar Tigers. The Tigers are in Columbia this afternoon facing Blair Oaks in the Missouri Class II State Championship game. Now, Lamar aiming to hand the Falcons their first loss of the season, claim their 9th state championship in program history. And Lamar would strike first today. Joel Beshore keeps it, busts through the middle. He's free for the 21-yard touchdown. Lamar leads 7-0. Then Beshore does it himself again. Gets to the near side, dives into the end zone, his second of the day. We got a good one. It's 14-12 Lamar at halftime. Blair Oaks comes out of the break with a spark. Dylan Hare finds a little room to run, rips off a 49-yard touchdown run. Falcons take their first lead of the game. Lamar has an answer though. Be short. Airs it out to Ian Googie. Lamar back on top. It is 21-20. Game really was back and forth all day long. Lamar down 11 now, but they're getting tricky. Check it out. Ty Wilhite comes up throwing, hits Googie for a 50-yarder. Lamar takes Blair Oaks down to the wire, but the Falcons do pull it off to win the state championship 32-27.
Our guys absolutely battled to the end. I mean, to the absolute end, even when things looked dim, even when things looked dark. And I couldn't be more proud of a group of kids. I really couldn't, especially from where we started in June to where we are now. We marched right down the field and gave ourselves a great shot to punch it in there, and we just didn't make enough plays there at the end.
The Missouri Southern Lions opened MIAA conference play last night against Northwest Missouri State. On the women's side, the Lions beat the Bearcats 52-37 to get to 8-0 this season. Now, Southern's defense was really good all night. They held the Bearcats to just 26% shooting, also forced 19 turnovers. On the offensive side, Lacey Stokes led the way with 18 points and 5 assists. Amaya Johns added 12 points. So the Lions still perfect at 8-0, including 1-0 in the MIAA.
It feels really good. We obviously wanted to start off with a kick this year, with the preseason rankings coming out, and we wanted to show, how even though we don't really think they matter right now, it's who proves themselves throughout the season. So to be able to start off proving ourselves, I think that's going to be really good for us throughout the season. Offense comes and goes. So, like tonight, I don't think we scored but 6 points in the fourth quarter, but we sit down and we guard, and I think that's just something you can really pride yourself on in winning games later in the stretch.
The Pittsburgh State women lost a heartbreaker last night. The Gorillas fell to Missouri Western in overtime, 80-74. Tristan Gage scored a team-high 23 points, but it was Corinna Gerber's night. Gerber had a monster double-double. The sophomore finished with 20 points, 17 rebounds, while also blocking 7 shots.
Incredible. Even Coach Mack after the game was like, KG had a stellar performance tonight. She just had all of our backs, and she just goes up hard, and they foul her, she makes her free throws. That's something that she's really improved on, is her free throws this year. So we're super happy to have her down there. I wouldn't want any other 5 in this league besides KG. So we're super happy to have her.
Just showed how much she's matured as a basketball player. Honestly, she wanted the basketball even in the break. She's leading the break one time there at the end and makes a perfect pass to Aaron for a score. And I just think you can tell her confidence level and her comfort. She's just really grown. She's put a lot of time in, and just really proud of her effort.
And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
A homeowner just outside of Chicago has been bringing in extra Christmas cheer to people ever since 1998. His elaborate, impressive holiday displays attracting thousands. Fox's Dave Rogers has this story.
This has been the sight all day long. Cars slowly moving down the street, ready to check out this massive display of Christmas decorations here in Tinley Park. The owner tells me this is not an easy job to pull off. His electricity bill, something like $1,400 throughout the season, something he says is all worth it. Driving down Avon Lane, you can't help but notice this winter wonderland. How many times do you come see it throughout the holidays?
Probably about 5 or 6 times. Because you see something new every time you come.
Here's a look from Sky Fox. 3 homes, over 2,000 Christmas lights featuring 400 figurines.
I'm about to call my dad and be like, Dad, you gotta get over here. Be like, I know I live an hour away, but come over here and look at this house.
Tinley Park's iconic Christmas house begins shining bright this afternoon. Since 1996, the massive display has attracted thousands of spectators from all over the world.
Oh, I love Christmas. So this is wonderful. I will come here every day until December 25th.
Does it make you want to step up your own Christmas decorations at home?
It does. He probably like, oh, no. Merry Christmas!
More than 80 volunteers began designing the display after Halloween. The mastermind behind it all, Dominic Kowalczak. What makes you do this every single year, man? What's the inspiration behind this?
I'm crazy, I think. No, it's the kids. To see all the kids out here happy, having a great time.
Beyond giant inflatables, a gingerbread house, there's also a nativity scene and so much more. Best of all, donations raised support a local charity.
So we raise money for Together We Cope. They're a local homeless prevention agency. They help families in the South Side help them pay their mortgage, help them pay their water bill. It's also a food pantry.
All month long, the area is expected to be packed with spectators snapping photos, enjoying the sights. Children and adults alike spreading holiday cheer.
This snowman is flipping beautiful. Merry Christmas, everybody!
Now, another thing getting all attention is this bathroom where Santa is inside. Kids can't get enough of it. Also, take a look. This dance floor where kids are also having a blast. All of it goes until December 31st. You can come here, check out the sights from 5 o'clock until 10 p.m. In Tinley Park, I'm Nate Rogers, Fox 32, Chicago.
Told you it was pretty cool. A new project for Robert De Niro, Hollywood Nation, coming your way. Country stars continue their stay on the Las Vegas Strip. An iconic archaeologist is back for another adventure. We got more news for you. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with the latest from the Hollywood Nation.
Dr. Jones returns and country superstars extend their desert trip in the Hollywood Nation. Garth Brooks revealed his Garth Brooks +1 Las Vegas residency at the Coliseum at Caesars Palace will now run through 2024. The singer made the decision due to the extraordinary demand for tickets for his first 27 shows. Miranda Lambert has also added dates to her Las Vegas residency. Velvet Rodeo, which kicked off in September, will continue through the end of 2023 with 16 new shows in July, November, and December. In casting news, Deadline reports Cynthia Erivo is teaming up with Renee Zellweger for the Apple TV Plus series Raising Wild. The duo will produce the show, and Erivo will also star, playing a neuropsychologist who falls from grace after she is wanted for fraud and kidnapping. Robert De Niro books his first major TV series role. According to Variety, he will play a former U.S. president in Netflix's upcoming political thriller series, 0 Day.
No one sees what's happening behind the closed doors.
The Duke and Duchess of Sussex give a sneak peek at royal life in today's First Looks. Netflix released the trailer for Harry and Meghan, a docu-series that examines the early days of the couple's courtship to their retreat from life as working royals.
Those days have come and gone.
And Harrison Ford is back in his iconic fedora in the first trailer to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. The fifth adventure features Indy cracking his whip, dodging bullets, and a look at his goddaughter Helena, played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. It arrives in theaters June 30th, 2023. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
How about Harrison Ford, huh? So it's time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you tonight with a video of otters at an Australian zoo enjoying some icy treats. Have a great, safe weekend. Here they come. Yeah, here they come. Have a great, safe weekend. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.